Welcome back to International Finance. This is Chapter 6, International Parity Relations, the second part of my lecture. And the last video, we talked about the concept of interest rate parity. Okay, we talked about the equilibrium concept and low arbitrage conditions. And here in interest rate parity, we drew two different timelines like this, between two different currencies and then two different time points and two different investment tools we thought about, and those tools should give us the same amount of money. Otherwise there would be an arbitrage opportunity, right? So what was the idea? The one investment is going from investing in US dollar terms only, lending money in US treasuries, or investing in US treasuries only. The other is converting into British pound and then investing in British treasuries, and then at the end of the day you convert it back to US dollars at the promised rate, which is forward rate. And these second investment versus first investment should give you the same payout. Otherwise you will move your money to one or the other direction, okay? So that the rate of FX rate or interest rate will have to move to make it balance, right? So that's the idea over here. Now, if we go to the next example over here, interest rate parity example 1 of 3, let's do it. Now, an investor has 10,000 euro and faces an interest rate in Eurozone. Maybe the guy is from, I don't know, France or Germany, and then the Eurozone interest rate is 5%. He could invest in Europe and have 10,500 euro in 1 year, or he could trade his euro for pounds sterling or pound sterling. I don't know why they call pound sterling. Why don't we just call it pound? But anyway, pound sterling at the spot exchange rate and invest in United Kingdom at 15.5%. Okay, the spot exchange rate are 1.5 dollars per pound and $1.2 per euro. Okay, here we are bringing cross exchange rate, which makes the spot cross exchange rate be 1.25 because it's a review of your previous chapters, right? This relation, we are interested in euro to pound. For each pound unit, how much is it priced in euro terms? So divide and multiply by the same number, which is US dollars, right? Mathematicians' favorite technique over here. And then that's euro to dollar rate, which is 1/1.2 that you got from here. And then the second term is dollar per pound, which is here. You do the multiplication and you'll find out it is 1.25 euro per pound. Fine. That's spot cross exchange rate. Then what? The next. If he invests in Britain, he hedges his exchange risk with a short position in a forward contract. We are hedging, okay? A short position in a forward contract on the 90 to 40 pound. His investment will grow, okay? So how do we figure out this 90 to 40 pounds? That is 10,000 euro, okay? Divided by 1.25 euro per pound rate over here times 1 plus the interest rate of 15.5% in British ways, okay? So that will give you 92.40. And IRP says that 1 year forward exchange rate must be 0.88 because it has to be the ratio between, okay, the cash you get from the hedged position 90 to 40 pounds divided by the 10,000 500, right? 10,500 euro at the end of the period. Remember this one, 10,500 euro. I mean, there has to be comma. Okay. One thing I strangely find in Europe is that they use comma to represent the decimal point, whereas Asia, decimal point is just point, and then the comma is for separating 1,000. Okay, so this is Asia, this is Korea. Please follow Asian convention. I did this mistake intentionally to tell this story. Okay, for our European friends, please. Okay, 10,500. Well, that's coming from this guy over here. Okay, all right. So that's this number over here. Yeah. And then that will give us the 1 year forward rate of pound per euro. Yeah, pound per euro. And then, yeah, pictorially, it looks like this. We have euro and then pound over there. Okay? And then we start with 10,000 euro. Go! And then we're going to stop at the end of 1 year. Okay? Euro interest rate 5%. So if you put your money in the Euro Treasury, you will earn, and then you will get to 10,500 at the end of the day. The other way going is taking a short position in your forward, okay, to hedge this one. Now, which means identical to what I described in the pound to dollar relations. So the other vehicle in this investment is converting first into British pound using this spot exchange rate, okay, which is this guy, right? 1.25 euro per pound. Flip it, it's going to be 0.8. So multiply 0.8 by this, you will get 8,000 British pound. Now what do you do with this? Put it into British pound, British Treasury, sorry, right? British Treasury, whose rate is 15.5%. And what you will get at the end of the day is 90 to 40 pound. Now what? Don't stop there. You have to come back home. Come back home, yes, to be able to compare with this guy, right? Then what is the exchange rate? Forward exchange rate 1 year from now. That equates your amount, British pound amount, to 10,500 euros, right? What is the exchange rate that justifies this relation? That's 0.88 pound per euro, right? So that's that. Now, why IRP holds, right? Why does IRP hold? Well, suppose that 1 year forward rate was a tiny bit too low in this previous example. At 0.8799, okay, slightly lower. Then astute trader would move quickly to borrow, okay, borrow 1 million euro at 5%, and then trade for British pound, 800,000 pound at spot rates, and invest in British Consul at 15.5%, and enter into a short position in a 1 year forward contract at this, right, on 924,000 British pounds. Then in 1 year, he has a cash inflow of 1,050,119.33 euros from the forward contract, okay? And remember, in Euro market, he only owes, right, because he borrowed 1 million at 5%, he owes 1.05 million euros only. And you see this discrepancy over here. What you get using this British pound ways is this, more money in your hand, right? You're locked in this kind of arbitrage profit, risk-free arbitrage profit of 119 euros, right? With this tiny bit of difference, right? And right? Yes. So in pictorially it shows this way: go and stop 5%, 0.8, but here 0.8799, and you will end up with more money in by going this way, right? Short forward position. Anyway, the second part, why IRP holds. Suppose that 1 year forward rate was a bit too high, like 0.8801 instead of being a 0.88. An astute trader would move quickly to borrow, okay, 800 British pound, 800,000 British pound at 15.5% rate. And then what? Trade this for 1 million euro at spot rate and put this money into euro treasury at 5% rate and enter in the long position in a 1 year forward contract on 924,000 pounds at 0.8801 pound per euro. In 1 year, he has a cash outflow of 1.05 million euros from the forward contract, and he owes 924,000 pounds. And then accordingly, he will get a risk-free arbitrage profit of identical amount, 119.31 euros. And pictorially, in diagram-wise, right, it will look like this, right? You, from this example, in this second example, you go from here and stop over there, okay? And borrow 0.8 million pounds, and then, you know, convert it into euro, and then see how much, you know, you can get out of it. And then all that you have to do is repay what you owe, okay? And then you will have an excess amount of euros. 119 should be arbitrage profit being left over here, okay? So that's how we, you know, structure, right, arbitrage. Okay, so getting back to this diagram between the US dollar and British pound, we want to get some intuition about the forward rate and then spot rate relations with respect to the interest rate differentials between two different currencies, right? Because of equilibrium relations, what should hold, right? Let's do it. So the cash outflow and inflow in two different time points is shown based on this dollar to pound currency, right? In the first explanation, I was saying that the investment in US dollar lending should give you the same money as the investment that you do in British pound ways, right? Those two have to give you the same amount of money. You have to be indifferent, otherwise there will be an arbitrage opportunity. Another way of saying the same thing is you borrow in one place, right? The first explanation is not an arbitrage explanation because there's two different investment opportunities was requiring both of your cash outflow from your pocket, right? In US and in Britain, both should give you the same money. The next explanation is based on arbitrage explanation, just like the previous example that I showed you. Okay, arbitrage, what's the difference? Net cash outflow today is 0. Okay, that means you are borrowing money from somewhere, and then with that cash you lend it to somewhere else, right? You see that difference, right? Borrowing and lending simultaneously. Okay. And so here, the first one, and then the cash flow, we are going to represent it with US dollar terms, okay? We have spot rate and forward rate, and spot rate of today as well as spot rate of day 1 year from now, okay, S1, right? Now, what do we do? Well, the first transaction is borrowing in the US dollar, right? And then with that cash, you convert it later into British pound. But borrowing in the US dollars, let's say that's S dollar, and then cash flow in day 1 will be minus S times 1 plus I dollars, interest rates in dollars. Because borrowing means cash inflow to your pocket, that's positive, and then paying it back, that's minus cash flow over here, okay? Then the second transaction in this arbitrage is lending in the UK after converting your S at the spot exchange rate of S as well, right? The identical amount is subtracted because lending means going out of your pocket, okay? And for this investment in UK, right, later on, okay, you will have to, what? Get the money with the interest and then has to get into your pocket. But you have to convert it into US dollars at the spot rate, which is S1. And then the interest rate is British rate. Okay, so S1 times 1 plus I pound is over here. Now, the third transaction you can think about is selling the pound receivable forward, because you went into the forward contract to lock in, right? In that arbitrage. And the thing is selling the British pound receivable forward will not result in any cash flow at the present time. That is 0 times 0. But at the maturity, the seller will receive, F minus S1 dollar amount for each pound sold forward, okay? And that depends on the interest rate in British pound over here. Now, S1 denotes the future spot exchange rate. So net cash flow, how does it go? Well, in today, it's 0, okay? 0 net cash outflow. That's what this arbitrage is about. And then cash flow in time point 1. Holy cow, you have 3 ugly terms. How does that sum up to be? Well, don't worry. The first item is simply this guy. Notice that. And then the second item over here is simply that guy. Holy cow. Then what about S1, the spot rate in 1 year from now, and then 1 plus, British rate? Well, that's this guy and that guy. See, this is minus and this is plus, so they cancel each other out. Disappears. Nice. So that's why you have this relation. That's cash flow with your arbitrage position. And no arbitrage or arbitrage equilibrium means that this cash flow in arbitrage should be 0. And then you send this guy into the other side of the direction, the equation, you will get equal sign like this. Okay. Now with that, we want to extract some intuition. Okay. In the next slide, let's start from some intuition about the difference in interest rates and the difference in forward spot rates. Okay, forward spot rates. Start from the net cash flow in T1. Let's say forward rate and spot rate all in terms of dollar over pound, right? Per pound, how much is it in US dollars? And with no arbitrage, we have this relation, okay, being equal to 0. And then if you do the math, you will realize that it becomes like minus S minus IS, like that. Then, shall I try this? Yeah. Here, let's try mathematician's favorite technique, which is adding and subtracting the same number, that is I pound times S. So it's red one over here. Adding and subtracting. I did nothing. Okay, fine. Then what? Well, I want to make this kind of format, F minus S, and on one side. So F minus S. Oh, I can see that, right? And then is there any F and then S? Well, here is another one. F, and then here is S with I on sub pound. So bring this guy to this side of the equation, to this side, and the other guys, send it over to the other side of the equation, which is these two guys, that guy and that guy, to the other side of the equation. So you will end up with this. Now what? Gather together like terms, which is SS parenthesis, I dollar, I pound interest rate, right? The other side of the equation, what do you have? Gather together like terms, which is over here, it's pound interest rate. And then you have F minus S. That's this guy. And then you have F minus S as well, right? So 2 times gather together like terms. Then what you have? Well, divide both sides of the equation by S, right? Then your left-hand side will become like this. F minus S over S times 1 plus pound rate. Okay? And the right-hand side will become like what? Dollar rate minus pound rate. And then if you will realize that I being very low number, it will be approximately like F minus S over S. That's, I interest rate differential between these two currencies approximates forward rate minus spot rate over spot rate relation. Now, what can we infer from here? The next slide tells us the story. This equilibrium relationship tells us that the interest rate will be higher in the US than in the UK when forward rate is greater than spot rate. Okay? British pound, spot rate is 1.3 maybe, forward rate 1.5 or something. Okay? Higher rate, British pound is expected to go appreciate or is a forward, US dollar is a forward discount. British pound is a forward premium. US dollar is at forward discount, means US dollar is expected to depreciate against Great British pound, and then the US interest rate should be higher than UK interest rate to compensate for the expected depreciation of US dollar. Okay? US dollar, holding other things fixed, right? Here, forward rate, British pound is a forward premium, right? Then the US interest rate has to be higher. Otherwise, the cash will go, the money will flow out of US and then go into Britain, right? To hold it, to compensate for that expected depreciation of dollars, right? This interest has to go, dollar interest has to go higher, be higher. And then otherwise, nobody would want to hold the US dollars, right? So that's the intuition that we want to get with this, through this relationship over here. The next one, we're going to cover it in the next video. So thanks for watching, and then see you.